class. And so we're just going to get right in. So I'm going to create a selection around this image, and there are two ways you can do that. You can either use your path tool to do that, and how you do that is you left click rather, and you see these options come up, and you're going to just click on this mix selection, or you do it with your direct selection tool right here. You left click and you get the same thing coming out. So I'm going to make selection. Notice this setting right here, feather radius. So basically what this means is how soft do I want the edges to be. So I want my edges to just be maximum softness should be 1, but I usually like to keep it on 0 sometimes, but let's just choose 1 for this case. Alright, so I'm going to click OK, and you can see the selection has come up. Now I'm not just going to go ahead and mask this image. I'm going to fine-tune the edges before I complete my masking. And how am I going to do that? This is an important process that I want you to watch. So don't forget what I told you earlier. Observe the things I'm doing closely. Observe the tools I'm using, right? And my process. Okay? So right here, this is called the marquee tool. And there are 4 sets. There is a rectangular marquee tool, the elliptical marquee tool. This one creates ellipses. This one creates edged selections, elliptical selections, and this is for single row. I will demonstrate how this works in later videos. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on this button right here called refine edge. Now I want you to observe something that happened. This refine edge that I just showed you right now at the top, this does not come up until I select the marquee tool, and that's because refining the edge of an image is associated with selections and the marquee tool. Basically, that's how Photoshop is. I don't know why they made it like that, but that's how it is. So I'm just going to click on this marquee tool, and you can see that selection came up. By the way, you notice that my selection vanished, and that's because when I clicked the marquee tool, I mistakenly tapped my mouse again, and so it assumed I was done with the selection. So to bring that back, just type Ctrl Z on your Windows and Command Z on the Mac. So you can see this right now. So let's zoom in to see the results that we got. So can you see those soft edges as a result of our feather radius? So let's go ahead and do something now. I want to bring back some of the hair details, right, that was lost while I was cropping. And so how I'm going to do that is I'm going to go right here and reduce the size of this brush. So this is a brush right here. This circular thing you can see is a refined edge brush. So I want to now work around the edges of this image. Now you notice that there are other settings right here for this for my view. I can view this image in the original state. I can view it with a transparent background. I can view the mask. I can view it on a white background, on a black background, with an overlay. Do you understand? So but I want to work on this transparent background so that I can see exactly the result I am expecting. So let's go ahead and brush around it. So observe that I'm brushing around the edges of his hair, around the edges of his hair. Okay, So let's just walk around that. Some things are going to happen. We might have errors or we might have accurate results. So you can see that right now. Something just happened right now. Okay. Okay, great. So Photoshop was trying to give us some of the hair details back, and then we had some rough pixels at the end of that attempt. But that's not a problem at all. So here's what we're going to do. Let's also go down to his beard and try to do the same thing. Let's try to brush that and see what we can recover. Oh, we lost a part of it. Ouch. So why did that happen? Okay, this is why. It's because the Refine Edge tool processes similar tones of black or blue, similar tones basically, as one. Okay, so if it's unable to identify a unique tone in the midst of a background, you will not be able to recover that part of your selection. All right, so what do we do about this? Well, basically, let me show you what we're going to do. So I'm going to repeat this process all over again, and this time just observe closely and see what I'm going to do. All right. So you notice that I was playing around with settings, right? So that's what you should do when you're working to crop an image perfectly, right? You want to check your settings, keep trying different settings until you achieve the perfect cut, the perfect cropping for your image, right? So that's the reason why you can see me playing with some settings, shift edge and all these kind of things. So but basically these are the tools that you're going to be using for cropping your images. So when I'm done right now, I'm about to click OK. So you can see I clicked on smart radius right here, and then I try to keep my smart radius under 0.1, because when I clicked 0.1 earlier, you saw what happened. Can you see this intrusion into his face? I don't want that, so I just set it to 0.02, right? So yeah, and you can see what I did with the hair. I went ahead and walked around the hair, right, in order to recover back some of this roughness at the edges, some of this roughness at the edges. Okay, and that's because I want to take advantage of that, of this roughness of the edges, to create hair details. Okay, great. There's a little something I was just thinking about doing, so let me just try that out and see if that will work for us here. This part of his eyeglass that has a portion of the background in it, let's see if we can get that part out. Oh, wonderful, that's great. So we have a part of that background removed from his glasses, so his eyeglass is transparent. Can you see that? Don't you just love this tool right now? Yeah, that's brilliant. That's really brilliant. So that tool is helping us get the transparency of his eyeglass. So whatever background we introduce behind him, you'll be able to see through that part of his eyeglass to appreciate his background. So I'm just going to go ahead and click OK, and this is what we have as our result. Can you see that? Great. So we're going to edit a bit. First of all, let me walk around the edges for you so you can see how perfectly done this is. This is beautiful. We literally captured every detail of this image, every detail. Okay, so we can see that. All right, there is a part of this image that has not been cropped out yet, and so that's why I'm going back to this part too right now. So in case you experience this kind of situation where a part of your image was not cropped, just go right into your path tool and select the path again. So now you're beginning to see one of the uses of this tool I showed you how to use in cropping your image. You can see how I just have to go back to the path right now, go back to my direct selection to select only this part and make a selection around it. Can you imagine that? Isn't that beautiful right now? And then all I need to do is to come to the layer mask. Remember I told you something about black and white layer masks, so I'm just going to tap X and do this and hit my backspace. And so that part of his body of the picture background is removed, because initially what we had there was his background. The background that he used in taking this picture was right behind him, and we could see that through this path. So we needed to get that out of the way, but also have a perfect image. Oh man, I love this. Can you see how this is looking transparent? Like we can literally see through this to see the background. Okay, that's great. So another thing we want to take care of are these edges. Can you see these edges? This glowing edges right here. So we're going to deal with them right away. So I'm going to hit my Control J to duplicate what we did earlier. I'm going to make this background copy invisible, and let me just go ahead and left click and choose a color for that layer so that I can identify it much later. I can also change the name by double clicking and call it source image so that I can now play around with this duplicate. So I'm going to hit my left click and you can see several options right here. So what I want to do right now is to click on apply layer mask. All right, so now that I've done that, I'm going to come back here to this source image. I'm going to hold Control. Pardon me, my mouse is behaving right now. So I'm just going to hit Control, and the moment I hit Control, you observe that a particular icon shows up. That icon is called the selection icon, right? So basically Photoshop is ready to make a selection for me once I hit my mouse. So let's go ahead and do that. Control and tap. So you see that selection is created, right? Okay, so once that happens, I'm going to go back to my duplicate and I'm going to mask. So notice what just happened. Most of those glow right here has gone out, and right here. Okay, and then more of this eyeglass details has been retained, so it looks more transparent. You can appreciate it more. Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, so pretty much we are set to proceed. Now there's a part of this image right here. We can all see that rough edge right there. So I'm guessing someone is thinking, that place is still rough. Now what do we do about it? Let me tell you what to do about it. So don't forget, you can always manipulate things, right? So what we're just going to do is use our path tool once again to walk around that part of the hair. So because we want to have some details, we're not just going to cut in anyhow. We're just going to work into it like that. Great. Right, left click, make selection 0 and tap on the layer mask, and we have that part out of the way. Right, so this is a very, very sweet cropping. I really love this. Hair detail looking good, edges looking really good. Yeah, so voila, this is our cropped image. So I'm also going to preserve this background, this second cropping that we did because of the slight edit we made to the hair, and I'm going to call this one below source image 2. Then I'm going to call this one use. That means I'm going to be using this one for my design. Great. So in the next video, I'm going to start creating the birthday poster. All right, so see you in the next class. Bye bye.